Okay.
Good morning, guys. Welcome to Kitten Car Crash. Now, if you haven't noticed, before last episode came out, we were on a hiatus. So we're back from that. I'm Kit.
I'm Car, I suppose.
And we're here with a special guest. She's an expert on the subject of today's of today's episode. She's a connoisseur, very experienced. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name's Miriam.
Woo!
As Kariana said, I am a fanfic connoisseur. I read a lot of them.
Oh, we know you do. That's why you're here.
Yeah,
That's why I'm here.
I think it's very admirable. Yeah, someone has to do it.
She's doing God's work.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Someone writes them and I read them.
Oh yeah. So, if you couldn't tell by that, the topic of today's episode is very exciting. We're going to be talking about and reading some fan fictions that are out there on the internet. Now, first off, if you don't know what they are, fan fictions, how would you describe fan fictions?
Fan fictions are little stories people put together about characters from celebrities.
Continue.
What else? Characters, celebrities. Like, is there anything else you read about?
Just like, it's fiction.
Yeah.
It's fiction, so they make up fake stories.
Yeah.
It's usually written in second person. It's either like self-inserts where the reader can insert themselves into the story.
Most of them are terrible, too.
Yeah.
It says, like, you're supposed to put in your name. That's why it's, like,
Yeah.
N-Y... Wait,
Y-N.
no. Y-N.
Y/N.
I just read it as your name.
So anytime, like, if you're reading, like, dialogue and some super sexy character, like Cedric Diggory from Harry Potter is saying, like, come on, Y/N, let's go to the library, Mm-hmm. He's not actually, it's when you're reading that, you're supposed to replace your name with Y/N. It stands for your name.
Actually, to let some people in on a little trade secret here, there are websites that let you replace the YN and other words with certain things. So if you actually want to replace your name with that stuff, there's little sites you can find to do that. It'll do it for you. It's really cool. I've never done it. No, certainly not. Mm-hmm. But I've heard through the grapevine. It's really good. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But sometimes if it is, like, a self-insert one where it's, like, you're supposed to put yourself in the story, because there are also a lot of fanfics that you're, like, reading just, like, a whole other story. Sometimes the self-inserts, they give what's supposed to be you, they give you, like, some name. Like, it'll say, like, Sarah. It'll be, like, you're Sarah. But I don't like that, because when I read them, and I read, like, some other name, I'm like, who's this Sarah bitch?
It's supposed to be me!
It's supposed to be me, okay? Yeah.
Like, if there's no your name, like, what's the point of reading it? What's the point
I'm
of
just
reading
watching.
It's like a real book almost. I'm not reading that. I'm reading fan fiction.
Yeah, I want Severus Snape to be in love with me.
I came
not
here
Pennywise.
to read about my love story, not Sarah.
Yeah, so before this episode, we did a lot of digging and searching. Actually, I didn't. These two did.
Yeah, we scrounged around for a bit.
Oh my god.
Yeah, on
Found some pretty good ones.
Yeah, on Wattpad.
Is it just on Wattpad, or did you go on AO3 or anything?
No, I don't use AO3.
Oh.
AO3 and 4chan is like the dark web. That's like the...
Okay, that's true. Yeah, AO3 is a little more risky, but you can find some good stuff on there.
That's like the pawn shop of...
Yeah.
The Spencers. The back of Spencer's.
The back of Spencer's gifts for fanfics.
Close your eyes and scroll and pick one randomly.
Yeah.
The chosen one will be...
It's Five Nights at Freddy.
Oh!
Fazbear's Pizza. Okay, who wants to go first?
I can.
Okay.
Okay.
There you go.
I think you'd be a good Freddy Fazbear.
Thank you. That's the nice thing anyone's ever said to me. No. So this is the first night. Okay. So this looks like a self-insert. Because
Self-insert.
it's in second person point of view. Okay. You'd spotted and wait. Off to a rough start, you guys. You'd spotted an advert in the local paper for a security job at the local kids' pizzeria. You were down on money and had no current job, so you decided to take it. You ran up the phone number on the advert and got a rather odd reply. Hello, I'd like to apply for it, you began. You got the job. When can you begin? An American accented man interrupted. You stopped and looked at your mobile in confusion. Tonight, I guess, but that's fine. Be there tonight at midnight. All you need to do is bring yourself along. I'll tell you what to do once you get there. The line disconnected, and you stared at the phone for a few more seconds before snapping it shut. You shrugged and went about your day, waiting for midnight to come. At 2 minutes to midnight, you set off. You didn't feel safe walking so late at night, so you drove to the pizzeria. When you got there, it was midnight exactly. You parked up and got out, walking to the front door, then noticing a side entrance. You shrugged and walked over to it, opening the door and pocketing your car keys. You entered the building and shut the door behind you. You were stood in a dimly lit office with hand-drawn pictures and posters all over the place. There were 2 doors either side of you with light switches next to the electronic controls. A flashing bar on the wall showed you how much power you had. You frowned and shrugged, sitting in the spinny chair. The phone rang. Hello? You said, picking up the phone and listening closely. A man, the same who'd spoken to you earlier, was giving you instructions on what to do. You took most of it in your stride until he mentioned how the animatronics were set in free roam mode at night and that they would see you as an animatronic without a suit. Consequently, they would try to stuff you inside the suit. To stop the animatronics from eating you alive, you could lock the doors to your office when they got close. Immediately, you spun around and hit the door controls, unease settling in. Shortly after you shut the doors, the man on the phone said that you only had a limited amount of power. You swore and Okay. Whoever wrote this must have been 10 years old, at most. You swore and reluctantly opened the doors, checking the cameras. Didn't he say there were 3 animatronics? You murmured as you saw 2 sat in their original place. You switched the cameras to see the dining hall and jumped. The chicken animatronic was staring straight at the camera. You shivered and switched cameras again, checking those close to your office. Nothing there. After a few more minutes of camera clicking, you... Sorry, we hired a new IT guy, Carson, and he's shitting bricks over there as I'm reading
He's making quite a scene.
His jaw is on the floor. Okay, after a few more minutes of camera clicking, you looked back to see that another animatronic had moved. You shrugged, then looked at the chicken screen again in panic, clicking through the cameras. It had moved 2 steps closer, standing in the corridor by your office. You left the cameras for a second and checked your power. 49%.
Oh my god.
Holy shit, you guys. You gulped. Gulp. I probably shouldn't be recording a podcast episode because I am losing my voice. This is just gonna make it worse. By the end of the episode, I'm gonna.
You're gonna sound like an animatronic.
I'm gonna sound like fucking corpse husband. Jesus.
We get more fans that way.
Good. Let's see here. You gulped and tried to find out where the Freddy animatronic, a rather odd-looking bear, had gone. It was moving further and further away, going around to the right of you in a circuit. You breathed a sigh of relief and went off the cameras again. You slowly rotated in your chair, bored. You decided to flick on the lights to your left to see if the chicken had moved. You screamed, "Ah!" The chair falling onto the floor.
Oh my god.
You frantically hit the door switch and it slammed closed. The chicken animatronic was glaring at...
Do you want some
This is
water?
5 minutes of Freddy's does to
No.
motherfucker.
The chicken animatronic was glaring at you through the glass! Exclamation point. Safer now, he muttered, shaking your head to try and forget about the creepy animatronic beside you. Looking back over the cameras, you noticed that Freddy had moved. He was closer to you now, only a few screens away. You gulped, gulp, and went back to check the left-hand corridor. The chicken had gone. You nervously reopened the doors, immediately checking the cameras to see where she was. Only retreated 2 screens. You turned off the cameras, the lights, and tried to save power. You breathed deeply and looked at your watch. 5 a.m. "Where's that bear?" you said suddenly, feeling anxious. You turned on the cameras and had a look. Freddy had moved, right next to you now. You went back to your office and turned on the lights to your right. Nothing immediately there. You finally righted your chair. What? You finally righted your chair and sat in it, flicking the lights to the left. Nothing there either. Calm, you whispered to yourself. Calm. You shut your eyes, and when you opened them again, you flicked the lights. Nothing. Then you checked the cameras. The chicken was back. So close, you could almost see it through the window. Freddy had moved too, and you screamed again. Ah! Thank you. The corridor next to you had his grinning face in it. Hang on, you breathed. Wasn't he on my right? Eerie music began to play from a speaker, and Freddy's face glowed. The clock chimed 6 o'clock, and you almost cried with relief. You only had to stay until 6 a.m. Quickly you ran for the door, pushing it open and sprinting for your car. You dived in and drove away, shaking. Wow. That is all of that one.
That sucked.
That one was not. No, we didn't even get to see Freddy's boobs. Damn it.
Let's find a different one.
These big gungaloid tits.
Yeah, that one was not that good. It was boring, slow, poorly written.
Yeah.
1 out of 5?
1 out of 5.
Let's find. Ooh, I know for a fact on the list that we have a wild crap. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go to your opinions
they have-
on fanfictions.
They're really long.
Yeah.
The Wildcrats one are really long.
Yeah.
X-Reader. I've
Find-
got
find a
X-Mail
short,
Reader.
but
That's
a
the one
short
I
and
have.
sweet.
X-mail reader for
Yeah.
wild crats.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, so who are we gonna be voicing?
I can be what's the name of the brunette one? I always
Chris?
I always had a crush on him.
You want to voice? Okay. I don't want to be Martin. I don't want to be Martin.
Okay, fine. I'll be Martin.
Okay, I'll be Chris.
Okay.
So just for reference, if any of you guys watch PBS Kids, as a kid, The Wild Kratts is a show about 2 brothers where they do nature stuff. Did you read it? You read a little bit? Oh shit! All right.
I don't think I
And
have
I
it
can
anymore,
be
but I can download it.
Maurice.
Here, we can just use my phone.
Okay, yeah, that makes better sense.
Yeah.
The reader?
You just get to sit over there and sit back and relax and imagine yourself with the Krat brothers.
Yeah, you're the visualizer. Or visualizers.
Oh yeah.
More sound effects or something.
Oh yeah.
You can,
Why can't I
you can
paste
do all
it?
the moaning.
Yeah. So if there's any sound effects, you can just stand up, come over here to the
Squelching,
microphone.
I sent it to you.
Squirting.
Oh. Oh my god, the Wi-Fi is so bad in here, though, so I
Gripping.
don't know what's gonna send.
Groaning, moaning,
Screaming.
chortling,
Yelping. Vomiting.
screeching,
Yeah.
pleading, begging.
She's taking a fat minute.
Farting. Splashing.
Oh, there it
Spelunking.
Spelunking.
Bouncing. A lawnmower noise. Yeah.
How would you make a lawnmower?
Okay, so Kit, you're
I can do
Chris.
a lawnmower noise.
Yeah, I'm Chris.
Cariona's
Redfield.
gonna be Martin, and I'll be Maurice.
Okay.
Who's Maurice again?
I'm assuming
Is that the male reader?
the male reader.
Oh, sharp. All right. Sorry.
It's
okay.
a good catchphrase.
I've been saying that a lot. Okay. Okay, I'm Martin. So, hi, it's us, the Krat siblings. I'm Martin, Martin said to the audience.
I'm Chris, and I'm coming between them. Wait, what? And coming between them was Christ's twin.
Christ!
Jesus Christ.
Jesus.
What's Christ?
Okay, so it sounds like Chris has a twin.
Wait, I'm so confused.
And then you're Maurice.
And I'm Maurice, his twin. Maurice introduced next to him.
It's alligator feeding time!
The three chimed in. First, they came up to a baby alligator.
We'll start with the smallest and move up from there. This 1-year-old alligator will eat anything he can catch and fit in his mouth. Chris explained, holding the hatchling.
And here's a favorite first food of an alligator hatchling. Dragonflies.
You hungry little fella? Maurice asked the baby croc.
Who knew dragonflies were so good? Martin said, giving the dragonfly to the hatchling.
I did. Maurice raised his hand.
Maurice got to feed an older alligator.
This alligator is only 3 years old. She's definitely ready for fish and mammals and much bigger food. You got something, Chris? His twin asked.
Chris came over with a medium-sized fish and gave it to the alligator. Easy. Fuck. Easy, girl. There you go. How about that?
Oh, God.
Chris then came up to the biggest alligator with the biggest fish.
Wow, Maurice chuckles.
All the biggest alligators get the biggest fish. The alligator bit down on the fish and squirted fish juice in Chris's face. Ugh, fish juice in the face.
Chris groaned, laughing.
Haha, his twin laughs at him. I told you should always bring safely here. Right down the hatch, an alligator this size has a bite force of about 1,000 pounds, Maurice explained.
Yeah.
The biggest crocodiles and alligators have bite force of 5,000 pounds. That's the same amount of force as a pickup truck sitting on top of you.
Whoa, be careful there, big bro, Maurice says to Martin.
That's the power of a reptile's jaws, but alligators and crocodiles are about more than just sharp teeth and a deadly snap. And you're right, Chris. Imagine meeting a completely different side to a crocodile, a side that is dedicated, protective, and maybe even caring.
Then we'd be able to appreciate what these creatures are really all about, Chris added.
Then the three siblings posed. What if? They chorused. Maurice was like Chris, but in a red shirt. Maurice, Chris, and Martin were near the Nile River in Africa looking for crocs and trying to convince Aviva that there's more to crocodiles than their reputation as scary brutes.
Oh, I think she's coming out of the water, Chris eagerly whispered. Oh, I think she's coming out of the water.
I know, so exciting, right?
As long as she doesn't see us, we should be okay. Martin added as they crawled into another bush.
There she is, Maurice squealed. Chris pulls him down.
The female crocodile slowly walked out of the water and onto the sandy riverbed. Whoa! The mighty Nile crocodile of Africa! Martin gasped in amazement. Maurice pulls his head down.
At over 20, one of the largest types of crocodile in the world, right behind the saltwater crocodile, Chris informed his older brothers. Why is he the youngest? I didn't know that. Is he?
Why does it say ex-male reader, but they're all brothers? I'm so confused.
Is this actually just incest?
I hope not.
I didn't read this before.
Martin was getting excited. She's picked a spot. It shouldn't be long now.
Oh yeah, digging is step one, Maurice said.
That's not just Miriam messing up. That's literally what Maurice says. Period. Said. Period.
All right, Operation Crocodile Nest is underway. Aviva, are they ready yet? Chris asked Aviva through his creature pod.
Carson can have a part. Do you want to be Aviva?
Sure.
Okay, go over there.
Go over there. Go over there, Slave. Go.
Yeah, right there.
Almost. But guys, I told you, this plan of yours is not going to change my mind. I just don't like crocs, period, Ava chided.
Maurice overhears, and he grabs Chris' creature pod.
Hey, you know you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, Aviva. Maurice chided with his hands on his hips.
Yeah, Operation Crocodile Nest will prove that there's more to crocodiles than you think, the youngest Krat chimed in.
They're just big, creepy, and ugly reptiles. All I've seen them do is try and bite things. They give me the heebie-jeebies, Aviva said, shivering at the thought.
That made Maurice even madder.
You know what, Aviva?
Goddamn. He was about to say something snarky and mean when the brothers noticed, both in for shock when Martin covers his mouth and the two smile nervously.
And that's why they're cool, Kurt says.
And when they're far away from me, they turned to see Jimmy whimpered in fright after Aviva showed him a crocodile. See that? And you think that if I see her lay eggs, it'll make me like the big meanies all of a sudden? I don't think so, Aviva chided, again shaking her head. Is that me again?
I think it's, I don't know, I'm just, it might be Maurice.
Should we read one of the other ones?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
this one isn't
this
going.
is just weird.
This one didn't work out.
I don't want to know where that one's going.
I don't want to know where that one.
Dobby X Snape. I think we should do Dobby X
We should do
Snape.
Dobby X Snape, yeah.
Okay, I'm like scrolling down the Wildcrats one, and it looks like this alligator bit is going on for like 500 pages. Jesus Christ, where's the sex?
Between the three brothers? I hope there is none.
Oh my gosh.
I was so confused because like it didn't say like brothers. It just said
Whimsical.
male reader.
The Glock. Dobby X Professor Snape.
Oh wait, should we
Are
be
they
saying
gonna,
like the
fight over a
authors?
gun or something? Well, oh yeah, we want these people to be
Okay.
outed publicly.
The Glock. Dobby X Professor Snape. Rated 18 plus. Explicit content. Viewer discretion is advised.
It's written by LMAO JD.
So first off, we're off to a very rocky start. The photo for the first chapter is Professor Snape with cat ears and a tail.
Oh my god.
It's like cat boy.
This chapter is called The Dark Arts. Dobby, are you attentive of what your task is? Lucius Whisper shouts down to Dobby. Yes, master. Dobby must keep the professor distracted. I won't let Dobby gets cut off by Lucius, who kicks him in the stomach. Don't blabber, worthless elf. Just get it done. He quickly finishes as he evaporates into thin air. I'm so sorry. It's going to be hard to hold it in for this one. Okay. Dobby starts shuffling towards the empty classroom. It was late at night, and all the students were in bed. Dobby must distract Snape, but how? He thinks out loud. He waddles to the door and hesitates. He looks to his ironed hands, wrapped in dirty bandages, and clicks them. A Glock appears in his hand.
What?
He takes the gun into both hands, taking a deep breath before shoving it...
A deep breathe.
deep breathe. Before shoving it into his rags and creeping into the room. Just as planned, Severus Snape is there. He gets up from his desk, not noticing the elf, and goes to the blackboard. Dobby lightly closes the door and takes cover underneath the table, observing the professor. Professor Snape turns back to his desk, looking at his wand. He sighs faintly and picks up the blackboard eraser, gliding it gently across the board, rubbing away all the spells and potions listed. As Dobby admires him, he snaps back to reality, knowing he has a task to fulfill, but hoping for something more. Without hesitation, he gets up from under the table and saunters to the front of the room. Snape lifts his head and turns around to face Dobby. His breathing starts to hitch. What do you want? I'm very busy. Snape snaps while folding his arms, still holding onto the eraser. Dobby stumbles on his words, feeling the air getting thin and the pressure sinking in. Dobby has a message for Severus Snape. You see, the plan has changed, he struggles to say, but at this point, Snape lightly chuckles and walks to his desk. As he leans onto it, watching Dobby intensely. And what might the plan be now, then? Snape questions. Dobby struggles to focus on Severus. As he stares him down in his long black gown, Dobby puts his hand onto him as he feels his Glock, reminiscing on the plan. I can show you if you'd like, Dobby hints as he shuffles in his place. Snape huffs and turns to the side, accidentally dropping the blackboard eraser. He curses slightly and bends down to pick it up. Dobby holds in a squeal of delight.
What?
He tiptoed towards the dark arts teacher. He was about to get the taste of the dark arts himself. No! Oh my god.
We're 2 paragraphs in.
Dobby grinned devilishly. Holding on to his 9mm Glock underneath his clothing, he watches Snape as he feels around the wooden floor under his desk, hoping to grip onto his eraser unintentionally. Snape presents his arse.
His arse. They're British.
Dazzling fashion, making Dobby blush. As silence falls in the room, Dobby, inch by inch, eases himself closer to Snape, who still is searching for the eraser, which had bounced out of sight. Snape huffs louder and drops to his hands and knees, providing an even better view of his rear. Dobby's grip onto his Glock tightens.
Fuck! Dobby manages to whisper. Okay, then I'll read. This is chapter 2. He feels his legs starting to shake. He was more nervous than excited, but he had to act quick. In frustration, Snape arches his back in a futile attempt to find the pesky blackboard eraser. Dobby becomes more impatient and starts to tap his foot onto the floor. He turns to look at the door and waves his finger, making the door quietly lock. He looks back at Snape's compromising position, takes a deep breath, and walks to the side of him. This bloody eraser, Snape disappointingly says to himself as he looks under the desk, whipping his head left and right. He is stopped by the touch of a hand onto his left butt cheek. His head raises slightly and looks towards Dobby. Dobby, Snape questions. Snape questions, but blushes over the emotions he started to feel, his cheeks flooding red at this point.
Which ones?
Oh no.
Sorry.
All of the above. All 6 of them.
Sick.
Do I have to read this?
I'm not going to be able to. I can guarantee it. Whatever it is, I'm not going to be able to make it.
This is the best one. This is, oh my gosh. Okay, this is the finale. This is the best one. I love
This
this.
is the climax.
This is the climax.
Oh.
Okay. Dobby, Snape questions but blushes over the emotions he started to feel, his cheeks flooding red at this point. Dobby will make Master Severus feel good. Dobby purred, sliding his Glock down Snape's shoulder. They kept eye contact as Dobby bit his lips sensually. Snape felt hot. He wanted something more to happen. He couldn't help himself. Snape leant in for a kiss as Dobby lunged forward and kissed him back, both their lips moving in sync. While sparks were flying, the hand on Snape's bottom became more firm as Snape grabbed Dobby's rags, demanding more. Dobby began to lift the hem of Snape's long black gown, revealing his round bottom. To both their surprises, Snape's briefs got flung across the room, landing on a student's desk. Dobby began to drool, unable to take his gaze off the view. His large eyes lingered for a while, Snape getting more impatient over time. Snape didn't know what to make of the situation, but he knew he didn't want it to stop. Why so sudden? Why me? Are we both doing the right thing? What's taking him so long? I look over and Kit is dying. His thoughts lingered before getting snapped out of it. Dobby stroked his Glock over Snape's cheeks teasingly. Snape was overcome with fear, yet a strange arousal settled him somewhat. Snape lightly groaned, wanting the tension in the room to be lifted. Sensation of his asshole being filled with a prompted cry of euphoria as Dobby sank the barrel of his Glock into Snape's butthole. I'm gonna keep going. The room span. The room span? In the UK, is that like past tense for spin? The room span? The room span as Snape Snape. Oh my God, my voice. Oh, Jesus Christ. My voice, no. Yeah, I thought my voice was gone for a second. Okay, anyways. Let's hear. The room span as Snape moved back and forth roughly onto Dobby's Glock. He felt lightheaded, but he didn't want it to stop. Neither of them did. Oh, say my name! What's that? Snap. That's Snape. That's Snape, not Dobby. Oh, say my name. Snape bellows towards Dobby. Do I have to say this? Do I have to read this? Kirsten, you want to read this?
You have to do the voices.
I get it.
Yes, master, he shakily whispers. Snape pounds himself against Dobby, moaning each other's names. Oh, Dobby. Sorry. The fact that my voice is basically gone just adds to it, makes it better.
It's a really good experience.
Glad you guys are here. My master, oh! They both stay in sync, both close to climax. Already, damn. Dobby pulls Snape's black long locks and pulls him back as they share a passionate kiss. After a while, both bodies becoming sweaty. They were so close.
I'm sweating. My palms are sweating.
So are mine. And so was someone else. Unbeknownst to the pair, Snape's pleasurable cry alerted a third party who was walking by at the wrong time.
Dumbledore.
We'll find out. Snape moaned in ecstasy as Dobby pounded his Glock into Snape's tight hole. What the fuck? A voice shouted from the door. Oh shit. Continue to the next part. Wow.
Yeah, Daddy chill. That's what it's called.
Do you want to read this?
Yeah, sure, I can try. What? It's Harry Potter pole dancing.
That's the picture for this chapter.
What the fuck? A voice shouted from the door. Oh shit. I can't. Snape whispered. He turned to the door to see Harry Potter standing there.
Harry Potter!
Mouth agape as he witnessed the brutal fucking. Dobby, how could you? Harry shouted. Dobby turned to face Harry as he so pounded hard into Snape. He smirked. Dobby is no longer anyone's master but Snape's, who is the only one that deserves my Glock up his ass. He shouts back in fury. He lightly stopped pounding into Snape, who groaned in annoyance, not wanting to feel the end. Harry Potter bellowed in rage, his heart torn to pieces. Harry lifted his wand, preparing to cast a spell, light tears in his eyes. Before anyone could stop him, the spell left his mouth, slowly putting red holes into Dobby's rags. What? He looked down, patting himself in disbelief, and back at Snape, who now slightly had tears in his eyes. Nothing could have been done. As Dobby's body slowly hit the ground, Snape whispered a preserving spell in hopes to keep Dobby alive, but not for long. Dobby cursed his last word. Fuck. He whispered. And lay dead on the cold, hard stone. No. Snape crawled towards his limp body and Glock while looking up to Harry. It had to be done, Harry said lightly. No other words could have formed out of his mouth. The room was silent for a while. Get out, Snape whispered. Harry looked up at him before letting a word leave his mouth. He shouted, Get out, Potter! Without hesitation, Harry left, taking his wand with him. The door closed after him as Snape's gaze came off the door and now onto Dobby. He lightly shook him in hopes it would wake him, tears filling his eyes. He wasn't sad he had lost Dobby. No, he was sad because he was close to climax, and Snape always was able to finish in any situation.
Oh, so sad.
A groan leaves Dobby's mouth as his eyes slowly open. Joy filled Snape's heart as he hugged Dobby, his grip tight around Dobby's bony shoulders. I thought it didn't work. I'm happy it did, Snape whispers into Dobby's shoulder. Dobby chuckles. Master, I'm sorry that had to happen. I want you to know that You don't need to say any more. I understand. I can't do Snape. The professor cuts him off. They both smile at each other as he helps Dobby onto his desk. Oh no, I've heard this stuff before. Okay.
Oh God.
Dobby limply sits on his desk, looking around, slightly confused but happy he was okay. He spots the blackboard eraser behind a student's desk near the window. He pats Snape's arm and weakly points to it. Snape turns around and sets his eyes on the eraser. I'll get it later. He says as he turns back to Dobby and takes his rags off, leaving him nude. Snape bites his lip but stops himself as he looks at the rags, throwing them into a bin and heading to a close broom cupboard. He grabs a clean rag and brings it back to Dobby, carefully wrapping around his fragile body. Master, I fear we aren't safe here. I must leave. Would you come with me? Dobby questions as he looks into Snape's eyes. They keep contact for a minute before Snape breaks it. But what about our lives here? What if... Let's just go, Master. Live the life we want to without rules, sir. Dobby cuts Snape off. Snape blushes as he hears Dobby call him sir. He had never felt more giddy. He simply nodded as he grabbed his hand and looked into his big eyes. Yeah, let's do it. And without another word, they both evaporate together.
They both just...
I think we should leave that one right there.
Yeah, that's good.
There's two more, but it's...
I feel pins and needles in my hands.
I'm a different person than I was before I read that.
Such a euphoric experience.
Oh, yeah. So,
I feel lightheaded.
Okay. I didn't really get into fan fiction until, like, middle school. I think in 7th grade, I read some. It was Gravity Falls, of course.
Was it Dipper Goes to Taco Bell?
I did read Dipper Goes to Taco Bell. But,
It wasn't your...
No.
It wasn't the one that...
That wasn't my opening.
Yeah, okay.
That wasn't my awakening. I find fan fiction, for me, it's not really guilty pleasure because I don't really read it all the time. I only read it, like, for reasons like this, Like, I don't read it on my spare time.
It's a party trick kind of thing.
Yeah. I think it's okay. If you're into it, I don't judge you unless it's, like, you're getting, like, pleasure from stuff that is things like incest and,
Yeah. Yeah.
pedophilia and, like, shit like that, Then that's kind of weird. But, I'm not going to judge somebody for reading fan fiction, of course, because Mimi's here. But, fan fiction, in my book, it's all right,
Yeah. Yeah, I think I got back into fan fiction, also around, like, I think middle school was, the opening to that. Mostly people brought it up at parties and things like that. I remember my friend Isaac he and I would, like, go back and forth reading Shrek. Shrek fan fiction actually was, like, the main topic of the time. We'd read a lot of that back and forth, doing, like, Donkey and Shrek roleplay. And it was kind of, like, challenging each other to see who could, like, laugh the least and not, like, admit defeat. It was kind of just a fun little thing. And then I got into Transformers. And
it all went downhill from there.
Yeah, I think Transformers really made me start reading more, like, genuine fan fiction. And it's pretty good. There's a whole side to it there that it's pretty interesting. Some are definitely better than the others. I like reading really bad ones every once in a while just to, like, laugh.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes there's good ones that actually make you sad because sometimes the comics don't give you enough, and then you just got to go torture yourself more with angst fiction stuff. And it's like, yeah. So I think good and bad stuff about them. I appreciate really good fanfic writers because there's definitely some bad ones out there that are just how are you gonna make it in life?
Yeah.
How are you gonna?
Jesus, you're going down a dark path.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a bunch of fanfics. We didn't really go over this, but it's not all just, like, romance stuff. Romance smut. That's just the interesting ones, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're definitely the quickest way to the heart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but there's also, there's, like you said, angst fics.
Yeah, I like reading, like, car crash ones.
Horror.
I remember there was one where it's, like, the anime, like, Haikyuu. There was a bunch of, all of them went on a field trip or something. They all crashed in a mountainside and almost all of them died.
Oh my
It's just
God.
this, like, gory mess of stuff, and I was, like, recommended. I was like, Damn, okay. Really good
Christ.
descriptions, at least, I suppose. And that was it. It's just them dying in, like, horrific ways. Like, limping with tree bark in their, like, lungs and stuff. It was, yeah,
Oh
it
my
was really
God.
interesting.
Jesus. Okay. Miriam.
I probably started reading them like maybe freshman year. I'm like in everything. Like except like obviously like the bad stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I read this like really good one that was about like AOT.
Oh yeah, Attack on
And
Titan.
There was like this whole background where like the character, I can't remember if it was like a year name or like she had like a name already, but she was like dating John, and then she got pregnant, and then she got kidnapped for 2 years, and she had the baby in like another place, and then they came and rescued her.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Nice.
But then I think
Oh,
there's
damn.
just
Interesting plot.
There was like a lot of death, so it was sad. But that's just like
Cool.
how AOT is. There's a lot of death. But yeah.
Yeah. So basically, all in all, learned a lot of life lessons here. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
fan fiction. I recommend reading it if you want a good laugh. You know, yeah.
It's a
so,
fun little humorous time.
yeah, especially if you're like with friends.
Yeah, and write some
know.
too. I remember, actually, I did a collaborative one once with like 7 people or something. We all just got on a Google Doc and we started writing Annoying Orange
Oh my
smut.
gosh.
And it was
Can you
just...
send me that?
I probably have it somewhere. Yeah, I can send
Yeah,
it to you.
send me that.
Ooh, we
Send
should
me
all write Robbie Rotten in Sporticus roles.
That, yeah. Yeah, okay.
A collaborative Robbie Rotten fic. I think that'd work. Yeah.
Yeah, so this episode we are sponsored by our special guests, Miriam and Carson, who is here sitting at the computer. So we're sponsored by Dr. Pepper, sponsored by McDonald's McFlurry Oreo. Specifically the McFlurry. Anything else from McDonald's, fuck you.
Fuck
Yeah.
your fries, fuck your burger,
Fuck your McChicken.
fuck your McChicken.
Fuck your honey mustard. No, just kidding. I love me some honey musty.
Honey musty.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you very much for listening.
Yes, thank you.
That's a wrap on today's episode.
What a wonderful time this was.
Honestly. Yeah.
It was.
It was.
It was.
You know what? It was. All right. Thank you.
Farewell.